Pause the video to work on these problems. When you're done, unpause the video to take a look at the answers and the solutions. Pause the video to take a look at the answers or keep playing the video to see the solutions. Let's solve the first problem. We have to multiply 4 9s times 15 16s. So the way you multiply fractions is by multiplying the numerator by the numerator and the denominator by the denominator. I like to simplify by cross cancelling before I actually multiply these numbers. So the way you can simplify is find a factor that's common to both the numerator and the denominator. So 4 goes into 4 and 16. So let's divide 4 divided by 4 is 1 and 16 divided by 4 is 4. Another factor that goes into the numerator and the denominator is 3. 3 goes into 15 and 9. So 15 divided by 3 is 5 and 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now that there is nothing else that's common, you multiply the numerator by the numerator, that's 5, and the denominator by the denominator, that's 12. So the answer to this problem, 4 9s times 15 16s, is 5 12ths. Let's look at the next problem. So we have 2 5ths times 20. The way you multiply a fraction and a whole number is by multiplying the numerator and the whole number. So you have 2 times 20 and you leave the denominator the same. Now again, I prefer to cross cancel and simplify first. So a factor that's common to the numerator and the denominator is 5. So 20 divided by 5 is 4 and 5 divided by 5 is 1. Now that you're done with cross cancelling, you multiply the numerators and you have 2 times 4 is 8. So 2 5ths of 20 or 2 5ths times 20 is equal to 8. Let's start doing the third problem. So remember our rules for dividing. When we are dividing one number by another number, especially when it's fractions, you keep your dividend, which is your first number, the same. You change the division into multiplication and you find the reciprocal of the divisor, which is the second number. So the reciprocal of 4 9s is 9 4ths. And then you multiply as usual. So you multiply the two numerators and you multiply the denominators. And now there is nothing that's common to the numerators and the denominators. So you simply multiply 3 times 9 is 27 and 8 times 4 is 32. So 3 8ths divided by 4 9s is 27 over 32. Let's look at the fourth problem. So the fourth problem is 8 divided by 2/3. Again, we remember our rules for division. We keep the first number the same. We change the division into multiplication because dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So we have to multiply by the reciprocal of 2/3, which is 3/2, and then we multiply as usual. We do 8 times 3. So the whole number times the numerator and keep the denominator the same. We'll cross cancel the common factors. So factor that's common to the numerator and the denominator is 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4 and 2 divided by 2 is 1. And now we simply have 4 times 3 is 12. So 8 divided by 2/3, which means how many times does 2/3 go into 8? It goes 12 times. So now let's look at the fifth problem. Let me pick a nice color. Let me go back to green. So 4 and 2/3 times 2 and 3/4. So when we are multiplying mixed number, let's first convert the mixed numbers into improper fractions. So 4 and 2/3 is the same as 14/3 and multiplied by 2 and 3/4 is the same as 11/4. Now that we have two fractions, we multiply the fractions as usual. We multiply the numerator with the numerator, so that's 14 times 11. And we multiply the denominator by the denominator, that's 3 times 4. When we do cross cancellation, we find that 2 is a factor that goes into 14 and 4. So 14 divided by 2 is 7 and 4 divided by 2 is 2. There's nothing else that goes into the numerator and the denominator. So we multiply the numerators, that 7 times 11 is 77 and 3 times 2 is 6. And now we convert it back to a mixed number. So 77 divided by 6, we have 12 wholes and a remainder of 5. So that becomes the numerator, and we're still dividing by 6, so that's the denominator. So 4 and 2/3 times 2 and 3/4 is 12 and 5/6. Let's look at the problem number 6. 2 and 5/6 divided by 3 and 3/4. Again, it's the same thing. We convert the mixed numbers into improper fractions. So 2 and 5/6 is 12 plus 5, 17. So that's 17/6. We are still dividing. We haven't yet started actually dividing. We're still just converting these mixed numbers into improper fractions. So 3 and 3/4 is 15/4. Now that we have converted these mixed numbers into improper fractions, we'll start the division. So we keep the first number the same, that's 17/6. Change the division into a multiplication and find the reciprocal of the divisor, which is 4/15. And then we simply multiply the numerator with the numerator and the denominator with the denominator. Again, you can multiply and then simplify, but I prefer to simplify first. So 2 goes into 4 and 6. So 4 divided by 2 is 2 and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So you can't simplify anymore. So you do 17 times 2 is 34 and 3 times 15 is 45. Now, usually when you start with a mixed number, you should convert it back to a mixed number, but 34 over 45 is less than a whole. So I cannot convert it into a mixed number. So I will leave it as 34/45. Let's do the last three problems. So 5/6 divided by 4. Again, we leave the first number the same, which is a dividend. So we leave 5/6 as 5/6. We are multiplying with the reciprocal of 4. So instead of division, we write multiplication, and the reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. And then we simply multiply. 5 times 1 is 5 and 6 times 4 is 24. So 5/6 divided by 4 equals 5/24. Let's do the next problem. So 3/5 of 60. So what does 3/5 of 60 mean? 3/5 of 60 is the same as 3/5 times 60. And when we are multiplying, we multiply the numerator with the whole number. So we have 3 times 60 and the denominator stays the same. So now if I cancel out the common factors, 5 goes into 60 and 5. So 60 divided by 5 is 12 and 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we have 3 times 12 is 36. So 3/5 of 60 is 36. And that makes sense because if I have, so this is, say, if this is 60 and I want to find 3/5, so this is, suppose this is 60 and these are fifths. Each one of them has 12 inside. So 12 times 5 is 60. And now I am interested in 3 of these fifths. So I'm interested in 3 of them. And so 12 plus 12 plus 12 is 36. Let's do the next problem. So 2 divided by 1.5. When we have mixed number, we make sure we first convert them into improper fractions. So 1.5 is the same as 3 halves. You must notice that I've kept the division sign the same because I'm first converting into a mixed number. Then I'm going to divide. So the first number, which is the dividend, stays the same. The division becomes multiplication, and I'm finding the reciprocal of 3 halves, which is 2/3. And now I multiply as usual. So I multiply the whole number and the numerator. 2 times 2 is 4, and the denominator stays the same. So 2 divided by 1.5 is 4/3. Or since I've started with a mixed number, I should actually convert this back into a mixed number. So 4/3, since it's more than a whole, I can make it into a mixed number, which is 1 and 1/3. So 2 divided by 1.5 is 1 and 1/3.